Hey everybody, welcome back to ChortleCast. I'm Jake, and with me as always, Steven, the Lone Ranger. Say hey, Steven.
I'm sorry, there is a new nickname that I have
I'm sorry,
to be
the
called
King
now.
of Thieves. Oh my gosh.
The King of Thieves.
How did this, I understand that Uncharted 4.
Okay.
Is it Uncharted 4 King of Thieves? Is that how that rolls?
It was, that's a Thief's End, but
Right.
On Thursday, I played through Uncharted 4, and I tagged the video finale.
Right.
I thought I had less in the game than I did.
Right.
I thought I had about 3 hours. I was wrong.
Right.
And one of our subs, Pablo, hey Pablo, if you're watching, he said in the stream, he was like, I don't think you can beat the rest of the game in one stream. And I was like, watch me. And he was like, okay, well, if you can do it, I will call you the King of Thieves. And I was like, well, now I have to do it. So
Gotcha. I was wondering.
5 hours and 36 minutes later.
Yeah, it was a very long stream. I've been wondering because your name's changed in the Discord and everything, and I was just like, what?
Made a new
what
account and everything. New me. I'm the King of Thieves.
Me, baby. I'm the King of Thieves. Well, if you
Chortle Steven is dead. King of Thieves. May he reign.
May he always reign. Well, folks, if you didn't know, this is ChortleCast, the official podcast of Chortle Games, where we talk about video games, TV shows, movies, anime, whatever the heck we want to talk about. We got a great show for you this week. We're going to be talking about a lot of new Pokemon news, Steven. Some new Kingdom Hearts news, potential DLC, and then we're also going to be talking about Season of the Drifter coming to Destiny 2, and who knows, we'll do some catch up at the end, and who knows what madness we'll get up to at that point. So let's get started. You ready to talk some news, Steven?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, number one, Pokemon. All right, Steven, Gen 8 is hot and ready. Okay, it's been cooking in the oven. It's hot. It's out on the table, but we gotta wait. It's gotta cool off before we can eat the cookies. That is Gen 8. Okay, Pokemon.
Okay.
I'm talking, of course, about.
Do you think there's an actual Pokemon that is a cookie?
I really hope so.
And then as he evolves, he gets a glass of milk?
I really hope so. How great would that be?
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm just thinking because you could do a Girl Scout name too. Like it could be a tag along, or there's a Girl Scout cookie that starts with an S. I'm thinking a Do-si-dos or something like that. How cool would that be if Do-si-do was a Pokemon? You know what I'm saying? This is the real pipe dream right now.
Do-si-do is a dance.
What is the cookie then? There's a cookie like something like that.
It starts with the D.
There's one. I think there's one that starts with an S. It's like Do-si-dos or something. I'm horrible. I'm horrible with Girl Scout cookies. I love them.
Keep going with the story. I know what you're talking about, but I'm gonna figure it out.
All right. Well, anyway, of course we're talking about Pokemon Sword and Shield. First off, cool name. Like I got hyped when they said names because it was like Pokemon Sword, and I was like Sword and Shield. I don't know why I got so excited about that, but I was like pumped.
There is a Do-si-do cookie.
See, I told you there was a Do-si-do. I don't know what you're all
Samoas.
You're on about over here. There's another one that's
really?
got an S, and it's going to drive me crazy. I don't know what it is.
Samoa.
Apparently. That's it. That's exactly what it is. That's a good one.
Interesting.
Anyway.
It's also a people group, but okay.
Girl Scouts would make great Pokemon. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, the Pokemon Sword and Shield been announced. It's the next mainline RPG. It's coming to Switch. All in all, looks same old. Right. It's the Galar region or something like that. It looks to be based off. There's a lot of people arguing: is it Great Britain or is it like Scotland? I am on Team Scotland personally. Like I kind of think it makes a lot more sense there. The idea though is it's like Europe and like that side of the Pokemon world.
I didn't watch the direct. I saw the trailer they showed, but is it co-op like Let's Go was?
There was no signs of that. I mean, seriously, all in all, what they showed was a very base. If you told me like, hey Jake, what is Pokemon? I would say, well, Steven, it's a game where you catch these little monsters called Pokemon that appear to you in random encounters in tall grass, and then you fight other trainers who you run across in the path, and then you take on gyms and do other stuff. The only real hint of something kind of new or like we've never seen before is the very last shot in the trailer, which is it appears that the trainer is walking into a giant arena, similar to like a soccer arena, because they're in like a soccer suit. I assume that this is just going to be the style of like big Pokemon battle that they have in Europe. Like whatever they're going to call the big four, it's going to happen on like a soccer field, because that's like the big European thing. But I don't know that for sure. That's the only real thing that they did that was like, oh, that looks new and different.
Could be a more streamlined PvP.
Say again now?
Could be a more streamlined PvP.
It could be. That could totally be it too. But I mean, all in all, it really it kind of went back to basics. Like the graphics look awesome. They look really, really good. It's, if you look at like a lot of people have been comparing it to Sun and Moon. I think a good way to compare it would be it's what Sun and Moon could be if it ran on a stronger, more powerful system. Because like the character designs, are very similar. Like, I don't know how to explain it better than that. Like if you look at a side by side, it's obvious that the Switch version looks better.
Of course.
But you can see like, oh, okay, yeah, this is kind of the same character design, just like, if it was on something 20 years better than the DS. So
20, okay. The 3DS was just fine.
I didn't say it was bad. I'm just saying it looks like it looks like a console game instead of a DS
like
or handheld something.
So
handheld just looks a little bit more pixelated, and
so
not as
I'm excited. I'm excited for more Pokemon.
I am too.
I've never pretended to be more of a Pokemon fan than I am, which means that I'm just kind of like, okay, cool. Yeah, Pokemon's fun. It's a very casual game. It's something that I can play with Anna that she might be into, something that my sisters love. But honestly, you said that you hoped that they were going to Breath of the Wildlize it. And I agree with that, because what I want, and I had this thought that I can't let go now, but what I want is a open world like they kind of have done, but like Breath of the Wild style graphics. But the combat, when you get in a match with a trainer or a match with another Pokemon, you throw out the Pokemon and you control the Pokemon in like a 3D style fighter.
Yeah,
that would be so cool. That's what I want.
That would be. That's like Crazy Town. That's like, I'm right there with you. That's a pipe dream. I'd love that. But that's crazy. You're in Crazy Town over there, Steven. All right?
I am.
You're in Crazy Town.
Sorry.
I do think we may one day see some sort of iteration of that, like a true open world, go where you want, like Breath of the Wild with Pokemon. I don't think it'll be quite that extensive like you're looking at, but
I think that if they did, they would have to probably do Kanto region again, just to dial back on the character demand that would give, because you're talking about like if it was current gen, it'd be like what, 700 plus playable characters,
right?
Which is just not realistic. But like, think about how cool that would be, where you see like a mountain and you're just like, I want to get to that mountain, go Pidgeot. Fly me to that mountain, and then you control Pidgeot flying to the mountain. Like, how cool would that be?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That would be very cool. Game Freak is a very, very small team at this point. I think they've got 100 people working there, something along those lines. And so that's what our pipe dream for Pokemon. I'm sure it's a pipe dream for them as well, but it's just like not feasible at this point.
But with them, it's like, you don't have to try with Pokemon. You can just re-release the same game every single year.
Well,
they'll buy it.
And that's a conversation I've been hearing a lot of people say is like, I mean, Pokemon Let's Go, a reskin of Pokemon Yellow, which, don't get me wrong, I freaking love Let's Go Eevee. That sold, I think it was 10 million or so copies. and it's just a reskin. I mean, a great one.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really good, but it's
the third
essentially
or fourth reskin of the Kanto region
right
at this point?
Exactly. So they don't really they are not pressured by lack of sales to innovate to make it better. Which
that's kind of how Zelda was. It needed something new.
Right. And it stinks that you have to have bad sales to get someone to innovate, but I don't know. I think honestly, I think them being on Switch, I think, this first
it's a step in the right direction.
It makes sense to me that this version is going to be pretty basic and pretty, old school Pokemon. Right. For one, to satisfy people like you who are a little bit dissatisfied with how Let's Go Eevee worked, or Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee worked, where you didn't have Pokemon battles to catch your Pokemon. There were some other things that were kind of, people were just upset about not being there like it would in a core game. So I think their first outing on the Switch with a real RPG Pokemon, they had to be kind of traditional. And I think the next generation, a couple years down the road, that may be the one that really, really tries something different. Or who knows, we may have a Pokemon, in 2 years from now, in between this, Gen 8 and Gen 9, that is a Breath of the Wild-ized Pokemon.
I don't think that they would innovate in such a way to where they changed core gameplay like that with a gen upgrade. They would have to do that with a gen remaster.
Absolutely,
because that would set a precedent for them to make every following new gen game the same or more.
Right, exactly. Well, and the only thing, to put a pin in this topic, the thing I'm most upset about is, Let's Go Eevee, they really, the way I kind of describe it is, or the way I think about Let's Go Eevee is, hey guys, we got the Switch, people are pumped about the Switch, we need to get Pokemon on the Switch ASAP. What can we do? Hey, let's take Kanto, let's reskin it, make it look really sharp. Let's give them Pikachu and Eevee, arguably the two most popular Pokemon. And then let's throw in every feature that people have liked in other games that we've kind of taken in and out. Pokemon following you, riding your Pokemon, outfits for your character or for your starter Pokemon, yada yada yada. They took all that and we're just like, let's just throw that in there as icing on the cake, and then let's just get it out there. And I am so upset that they are not doing random encounters. I'm really kind of upset about that. Because I thought it was so cool to see the Pokemon around. Not just from I'm looking for a Bulbasaur today. Oh my gosh, look, there's one over there. Let me go get it. Sure, that's a plus. But also just from a lived-in world feeling. It just feels
it looks
so much better.
When you actually see the Pokemon all around you. Exactly.
It feels so much better seeing that. So I'm frustrated about that. I'm also frustrated at this point it doesn't look like the take a Pokemon out of their Pokeball and let them follow you. That feature does not seem to be there. And then I'm assuming because your starter is someone you're probably going to replace pretty quick, that they're not going to do outfits for that kind of thing and riding your Pokemon or anything like that. So I'm a little bummed about that, but we don't know, to be honest, we don't know much about this game. Because like I said, they really only showed us, hey, this is back to basics core gameplay. So maybe they'll show us some more innovation later. But I said I was going to put a pin in that with that conversation. But let's talk about the new starters. We've got Scorbunny, Sobble, and Garuki, I think is this how you say his name?
Sure.
Steven, what do you think about the new starters?
I have no opinion. Not really.
You have no opinion.
It's funny that we're getting possibly another firefighting starter in the bunny, because, if it's a bunny, so one can assume that it's probably going to partially be fighting.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards that as well.
We've had way too many of those. According to Evan, I don't remember what the exact numbers he said was, but we've had way too many firefighting combo starters. So I don't know.
I was a bit bummed that they went the route of fire, water, grass for the starters this time. a lot of people were really excited when Rowlet, we all knew he was going to have Ghost at the end. And that was kind of exciting because it was like, a Ghost to start. That's kind of cool. So I was hoping they would kind of mix it up a bit, try some like a Ghost starter or a Metal starter or a Fighter starter or something. But
again, it's one of those things.
Fighting
that's tradition.
starter is what I meant to
Pokemon's
say.
got a formula, and the starters can always branch out later on as they evolve.
Exactly. Well, you mentioned you have no opinion on the starters at this point. Right now, I'm going Score Bunny simply because I typically lean on fire types. But
I almost always go grass type first.
Really, see, for me, it's gonna depend on what the evolutions are. If the third evolution is cool for Grookey or Sobble, I may go that route. But to be honest with you, I'm gonna start the game. I'm a Google. I'm gonna say, where can I catch an Eevee in Pokemon Sword and Shield? And I'm a beeline to that spot. I'm gonna catch like 6 Eevees, and we're gonna start popping out Eeveelutions. And Steven, I swear to God, this is the last thing I'm gonna say about Pokemon Sword and Shield. If they don't come up with a Dragon Eeveelution for this generation, I'm gonna be so pissed. This is the perfect time to have a Dragon Eeveelution. I'm just saying. Or a Steel Eeveelution. I'll take that. But Dragon also. I want my Ghost Eeveelution. That would be freaking cool too.
It'd be kind of sad though, because that would basically mean, hey, this Eevee died when it was trying to evolve. Here's a Ghost Eevee.
Ghost. It would look so badass though. That might be my new go-to Eevee if it was a Dragon or a Ghost type. The other thing, last thing I'm going to say, Steven. We've had rumors of what are the legendary Pokemon going to be. Someone has been suggesting a Dragon type and a Fairy type, and I'm all about that. I just want to throw that out there.
If it's in like Great Britain or Scotland, that's a place where the fairy and dragon mythologies are at their strongest, arguably. So
absolutely, it makes so much sense. I just hope they do it.
Yeah.
There's another rumor that it's going to be a steel type snake, and then some people keep calling it a wooden horse. Now I'm maybe I'm a little rusty on my Pokemon types, but I don't think there's a type that's wooden.
No, it's grass.
Right, but people have very specifically been saying a wooden horse, which I assume would just be grass, but I don't know. It's very strange. I'm not about that. A dragon and a fairy type makes so much more sense to me.
Yeah.
And I hope the dragon type is in Sword, because currently, not knowing anything, I want to be Pokemon Sword. But,
of course,
if
Sword.
If Shield's got the dragon type, Steven, I'm going for the Steel Shield. You know what I mean? I need that dragon type. I need it.
Right. Okay.
All right, moving on. Pikachu, Detective Pikachu, Steven, had another trailer.
Yep.
Looks effing bomb. If you haven't seen the new trailer, go watch it. Pause this. Go watch it. Come right back. Mewtwo, Steve.
I didn't expect to see Mewtwo in this movie.
I did, but I didn't expect to see it in a trailer.
So the 2 footnotes for me that like really stuck out in the trailer. Obviously, the end scene with Mr. Mime cracked me up. That was hilarious. Just the way it fell off the bike is just funny to me every time because it's so dramatic. But then Pikachu being in the fighting cage and turning and saying, "Get me the hell out of here."
Yes. Pikachu cursed. Can you believe that?
That was great.
When that happened, I kind of I noticed it, but it didn't really set into me until someone else, I read it, someone said it, wrote it out, Pikachu said a cuss word, and it was just you're right. He did. Yep. What does that mean for this movie? Is this movie going to be PG-13? What?
Hell's not a cuss word, really. I don't consider it, because it's something that you can get away with saying multiple times in a PG movie.
Right.
It's one of those that doesn't have a super large taboo in television and in most. So to me that's like cursed light, Like
Curse Light.
diet curse.
Diet
Curse
cursing.
0.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair. That's fair. I don't want to dive deep into this movie. I mean, Mewtwo's kind of the big, like, oh my gosh, that's cool. That he plays a role in the Detective Pikachu game. So it seems like, from what I understand, I never played the game. I just know a fair bit about it. It seems like they're following the game pretty closely. Like those, I forget what they're called, the monkeys with the giant hands for tails.
I know exactly.
I'm a fake Pokemon fan. I don't know their name. It's like a monkey or something like that. An Apin.
A monkey.
Apin? Is that what it's called? Do a quick Google
I'm gonna
search
look it
for me,
up,
Steven, while I finish this thought.
A monkey.
They're a monkey. They play a big role in the game too, and there are a lot of those in the trailer here. So I don't know. It looks really, really cool. I think, again, they just nailed it with Ryan Reynolds. I love everything about this movie. We see it. It looks like Detective Pikachu is using, he's like fighting at a certain point, which I was not expecting at all. Like, I was not expecting a super powered battle at the end between Pikachu and Mewtwo, or anything to that level. Mm-hmm. So I'm really curious to see where it goes and how it all plays out. I'm pumped for this movie. Did you find the monkey, Steven?
I had to pull up my phone because my computer's Apom.
Apom. See? I was right. I was right.
No, you weren't. You said a monkey.
I mean, close enough. Close enough. I knew it was something with a hand, and it was something with a monkey.
Okay.
Ape.
No, see, that's why it works. A monkey doesn't work because, hand has a palm.
Okay.
So palm,
look,
but
Steven,
then ape palm.
Look, Steven, don't at me right now, okay? I'm excited about new evolutions, all right? I want a Dragon Eevee. I want a Ghost Eevee. Let's move on. Okay. So, Kingdom Hearts 3. Everyone knows, Steven, I'm a big fan of Kingdom Hearts 3. I got real worked up at the end, but was glad to know, spoilers, that there are, I'm just gonna say it again. Spoilers for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to say this at the beginning of this. Please don't talk for half an hour again.
I'm not going to talk for half an hour.
Okay, cool.
Kingdom Hearts, at the end, the story doesn't end. It keeps going. There will be a fourth Kingdom Hearts movie or game at some point.
Right.
Might as well be a movie. Game. So I was honestly, after seeing the end, I was expecting, okay, cool. In about 2, maybe 3 years, we'll have probably a Switch exclusive Kingdom Hearts game akin to Birth by Sleep or Chain of Memories or something like that will pick up where 3 kind of tossed us into the void.
Right.
Right. However, Kingdom Hearts director Tetsu Nomura has confirmed that there will be free and paid DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3. He did not mention any details. He just said they would be larger, possibly grouped together, and be released before the end of 2019. One of the free modes is a critical mode, which there's proud mode, which is kind of like the hard mode. So I'm assuming critical mode is just going to be like a harder mode, or real talk, just hard mode in general, because proud mode is not hard at all.
Right.
One of the DLCs they kind of talked about, said it might talk about Xeon, which is a character. She's made from like the memories of Sora and the heart of Roxas. It's very complicated. I don't want to get into it. Anyway, she kind of appears at the end, so this is supposedly going to kind of walk out, how that really worked out. But other than that, they didn't really say any other details. So I don't know how I feel about this, Steven. I just don't know what to expect, because Kingdom Hearts has never had DLC. It's always just been, hey, here's the next game on a console you don't have. Which I have for once.
If they do it in the Final Fantasy 15 way, it's going to be DLCs that plug in throughout the game. So not something that expands beyond, but rather inserts during the gaps. So maybe another Disney World that takes place in the middle of the campaign.
That might be cool. And see, I'd be up for that because throughout the game, Mickey and Riku are kind of off doing their own thing. And in the story, you kind of pop in and check with them. Hey, what's going on with you guys? Okay, cool. Back to Sora. And then also one of my probably biggest complaints is, Kairi becomes a Keyblade wielder, and we kind of catch up with her every now and then in a cutscene or two, but not until like the last set of fights do we ever see her fight, and she only fights that one fight, and then she gets kidnapped. So I would have loved, and I would really love, if they did a DLC where you played as Kairi and you did her training, like to become a Keyblade master, because we pop in when they're not training and they're just talking. So I'd love to see a couple things where maybe they got sent to a world, or whatever world they're in, they do some missions or something. That would be really, really cool. I think it would be fun to do some stuff as Riku, because you play as Riku for one or two little pieces, but you never really you use him for that fight, and then it transfers you back to Sora. I wouldn't mind. I would actually love to see, what if Riku went to even the existing worlds that we have, if it was just, hey, here's Riku's side, here's what Riku did at those places. That could be an interesting DLC. I hope they do expand past the end just a little bit, because when I beat the game, I was like, what do I do? I really was like, I had to read, here's what happened. Here's the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 explained, like, just to like really just kind of calm myself down, because it was just like, I don't know, like, it's not over. Like, I don't know what to do. I can't do anything right now. So I hope they branch into that, but I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. As long as they don't cancel. As long as they don't say, hey, we got 15 DLCs coming to Kingdom Hearts. Oh, after 5 release. Oh, wait, sorry guys, we're gonna do one more and then cancel them all. That's what I'll be upset about. I didn't mind it with those Final Fantasy people. I didn't give 2 cents about them, but I'll be upset about Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, moving on. Steven, are you excited about free games?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for free games.
I love free games.
I've got too many games to play right now, though. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
I could do without them, but I never turn. It's like my mom always said, never look a gift game in the mouth. What are the games?
So I actually don't have the Xbox games with gold games. I never saw someone post an article. They don't matter. You know what I mean? If you're an Xbox, just get out of here, you crazy kids. Get out of here. Hey, look, you're going to be playing your Xbox games on PlayStation soon enough, so just calm down. Let's move on. So
what Xbox games?
Oh, man. So
pew, shots fired. Go ahead.
Shots fired. So the PS Plus games for March are The Witness and Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. Now, Steven, The Witness is a game that I bought when it was on sale at some point. It's a puzzle game. It's a first-person puzzle game. It's very, very good. I've only played a very small portion of it, but it is a very chill, fun game to play. The puzzles are incredibly difficult, though. There seems to be some kind of underlying story, but I haven't quite. I didn't get very far, so I didn't figure much of that out. But anyway, if you haven't played it or haven't even tried it, like, it's totally worth a try, especially if you like puzzle games. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, for me, I just don't even care about. Steven, what I told you and Brody this, and y'all kind of came to the game's defense. What is this a game people should? I mean, obviously it's free, so go download it. But like, why do I care?
It's a good game because it's a really good story mode. Like, it's a good campaign.
Okay, all right. Well, that's fair.
It's one of those where it's like Titanfall 2. I would have played it even without the multiplayer, even though it's a one and done kind of way, because the campaign was that good.
Right.
Modern Warfare is kind of that way, to where it kind of harkened in the era of the modern setting FPS. Because not a lot of games had hit critical acclaim before it that did that. And it's called Modern Warfare because it was the first time Call of Duty had expanded beyond World War II. So it's kind of like a piece of history a little bit, to where it like in the gaming world it is
right. It is.
It was when competitive multiplayer, like in FPS games, became huge. And the campaign was just it was just really good. It had a lot of really memorable levels. There's the one where you are I forget what it's called. People would hate me for it, but you're playing as one character on a mission to literally the whole mission is just getting to a sniping position and then taking a shot. But the mission's really good. It handles its cinematic storytelling and gameplay really well. And I'm gonna be playing it just to see how well it aged, because it's been quite a while since I've played it before. But I'm excited to try it again. It was a fun time.
Well, there you go. And for the first time, Steven, that's all you get with your PS Plus this month. There are no more PS3 games. There are no more Vita games. It's just that.
And Vita production ended in Japan finally, the Vita is officially dead.
The Vita has been on its slow death, but they've kind of
the Vita was kind of born into life support.
They unplugged they've unplugged the life support. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of time. So I'm a little bummed that they didn't do something else. Like, I was kind of hoping with the loss of PS3, we may see, more VR titles, which they've been tossing in a couple. Hey, for, the next 2 months, here's some VR title that's either free or discounted. I was kind of hoping we would see more of that tossed in here, but I don't know. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, I felt like was a pretty big game to give for free. Like, obviously it's an older game that's been reworked, but I felt like that was a pretty big one.
It's one that hits a broader audience.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how it will continue. I personally hope they'll start tossing in a VR game every couple, or continue to do that, but do it more frequently. But I don't know. There's a lot of good VR games coming out, Steven, that I'm really excited about. There's one called Ghost Giant, I think is what it's called. I can't remember where we last saw it. I can't remember if it was I can't remember if it was Game Awards or something like that. It must have been the Game Awards, but the premise of it is you're a giant ghost and you are interacting with this town and they can't see you. So you're just like messing with their lives. No one can see you except for this one kid. And apparently it tells a really, really sweet story with that kid. So I've been real excited about it recently. So I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff. There's also a VR game that's got some falcon that you like train. I'm really excited about that game too.
Okay, that sounds cool.
A lot of good VR titles coming out soon. All right, Steven. We're almost wrapped up with news, but there's one more story that it would be amiss to do without, and that's Destiny 2's Season of the Drifter starting this week. If you're watching live on Monday, 12 o'clock Central Time, this is tomorrow for you guys. So get pumped. Get excited. I'm going to be editing stuff on this day, so I'm not gonna touch this. But on oh wait, you know what? I think I just lied. It apparently starts. This says Drifter starts on March 15th. I don't know why I thought it was this week. Wait a second. Did they lie to me? I think they lied to me.
So what I'm hearing is that Season of the Drifter starts 3 days after Division 2 will have come out.
I guess so. I don't know where I got my wires crossed there. Yeah, apparently it says it starts on March 15th, which is not this week because that would be March 4th, 5th.
That was the quickest retraction I've ever seen.
Wow, I'm blown away. Okay, I don't know why I thought. I swear though, I wonder if this write-up is wrong. Steven, could you do a quick Google search too and back me up with some facts here? Because this is telling me March 15th, but I could have sworn I've been listening to some YouTubers say it was this week. I'm going to move on, though. While you Google, I'm going to talk about it. So we got a lot of great stuff coming. As predicted, this season is going to do a lot with Gambit. There's a new thing called Gambit Prime, which, as I understand,
where you get free shipping.
Say again.
That's where you get free shipping. That was dumb. Sorry.
Your moats get free shipping. Yeah. Free shipping over to, whatever. I can't believe I got this date wrong. So Gambit Prime, as I understand it, it is a shorter, faster mode, harder mode of Gambit. So the enemies, which in my opinion are already pretty strong, are going to be stronger, and there's only one wave. You're right,
it's March 5th.
It is March 5th?
March 5th is when Gambit Prime and Reckoning Tier 1 come. So the season probably starts with that on March 5th.
Who am I getting this article from? Because I want to burn them. Shaq News, get out of here. Who are you?
Shaq News? Is that where Shaquille O'Neal just talks about things that are
Shaquille,
important?
get out of here. Shaq, boy, get out of here. Okay, I knew I wasn't crazy. All right, so yeah, look, it even says it right there for March 5th. Okay, why did they put March 15th? These people are crazy. You know what I'm saying? Just crazy. All right. So anyway, Gambit Prime, harder, shorter. It's one round. You can actually drain the other team's moats this time. And then, Steven, did you know that there are roles in Gambit? Do you know that Gambit is a role-playing mode?
Like a role-based mode?
Yeah. Did you know that?
Well, I did, and that role for every single person was the exact same, and it was, what's that stupid gun that I swear I wouldn't mention the name of it again?
I didn't fully understand this, Steven, but apparently Gambit is meant to be played with 4 people doing individual roles in an ideal scenario.
Yeah. In an ideal scenario. And then they get that one gun that can insta-kill, and then
it's all over.
Does that.
Game up for there.
Yep.
So there's the invader. Obviously, that's the person that's going to the other side, killing the other team, stopping them from, depositing moats and or defeating their primeval. There's a person who, the collector, I think is what they called it, who is supposed to be running around just collecting moats. And then there's another player who is supposed to just be killing things. So just kill, let the collector come in and get all the moats, and you keep moving on and killing. And then there's supposed to be somebody guarding the moat deposit and just killing anything that comes. Now, I've played a lot of Gambit. I have never heard it explained to me like that until this doc, this vid doc that they did.
There's a reason for that.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. But anyway,
no one plays it that way.
Well, it seems like they're really putting an emphasis on these roles now, because one of the things in the trailer you'll see a lot of is the characters are wearing this new armor set that has glowing snakes. And the snakes are glowing a certain color based on the role that you are kitted out to play in Gambit. So, for instance, the red one is Invader. So you're going to have a lot of that. If you see somebody who's got this red armor and they're invading you, just know they have a lot of buffs that are going to help them invade. Same with, I think this white one is the one that's collecting. They're going to have a lot of buffs to help them collect moats. They didn't go into any more detail other than that. Just like, hey, this, if you're wearing the Invader set, it's going to help you invade. And so they were talking about, when you're gearing up and you're looking at the other team, if you see 4 people that are all in red, it's like, oh crap, all of these people are really good at invading. We're going to have to be top of our game everywhere else. So I don't know, very interesting stuff. You play Gambit Prime to do the other thing, which is the Reckoning. So there's going to be a lot of story content coming with this. We're going to dive into the story of the Drifter. We're going to learn what's in that rock he's carrying around behind his ship. And apparently we're going to learn a lot about the Nine, Steven. Apparently the Nine have a great interest in the Drifter for, at this point, unknown reasons. But But the other major thing that's going to be happening is we're going to be going into what's called the Reckoning. And from what I can tell, it's this vast plane, and it looks like it's going to be a really hard horde mode.
Of course.
Right. And it's supposed to be
time locked, I'm sure.
Well, it is. I do believe it is timed.
Yep.
But it's supposed to be just fight hard, fight fast. Really, really challenging stuff. Tier 1's going to be coming out in March 5th, and then other tiers are going to be unleashing. But it looks really, really interesting because, like I said, it's in a kind of a void, like some planet that's just barren. But there are a lot of the symbols of the 9 kind of floating around everywhere. So
right.
It looks really, really cool, really, really different. I'm excited to see all that. They confirmed Thorn is coming back. There's going to be a quest to get that. I don't
know why they chose Thorn. It's just another hand cannon meant for PvP.
We have
That's
a lot of
one
hand cannons in it.
Yep.
There are a lot of similar guns in Destiny I'm picking up, but yeah, it's interesting that people are real excited about that. They're Thorn. There's going to be
It's a PvP gun.
Yeah, for PvP, it's good.
Yeah.
There's an all new spring event that's going to be coming with the Season of Dawn, Season of the Drifter. So that's going to be cool. Yeah. All in all, though, it's a new mode of Gambit, and then this Reckoning that is kind of a new thing going on. So we're going to be playing that this week, maybe Thursday, maybe me, maybe Steven, maybe me and Evan and Jeremy from 8-Bit Gamesters. Who knows? We'll just see who's available, and we'll pop in and give it a shot. Steven, what do you think, all in all? And this will kind of transition us into our catch-up, but what do you think about this? Is this something that, I mean, you and I have a very love-hate relationship with Gambit.
I think if this was enough content to warrant more than playing it for a week and then being bored with it and realizing that it's just more of a BS grind, I think I would care. The Drifter is interesting, but not interesting enough to warrant me playing Destiny again smack in the middle of Anthem and Division 2.
Right.
It would take something very special to get me to do that. and Destiny's just not that.
Well, this is going to kind of transition into our catch-up conversation. We've been playing nothing but Anthem, folks. It's been a lot of Anthem over here at Chortle Games.
Yeah.
Steven, how much do you, as someone who is getting pretty deep into the late game, how much do you really think you have left before you feel pretty comfortable with where you're at in Anthem? And what let me just clarify what I mean by that is, like, right now my goal in Anthem is to get a Storm that is masterworked how I want him to be, and then basically to where I'm good. Like I'm not going to get a better Storm until they update something.
Get kitted out to where you're comfortable to go into the new content that they release.
Exactly. So how you're further along than me, which, by the way, I am so impressed that you got to 30 so fast, because I have been playing a lot of Anthem on my own time without mics, sitting next to Allison, and I've been playing with randos. And I'm
sorry.
I think I just hit level 27. I beat the story, all that jazz. I just have to say I am impressed that you got to 30 as fast as you did.
I had good help. Evan and towards the end, Jeremy, we got through it together, had good teamwork. So that's the main reason why, is that I had good help. But I hit level 30, I think maybe Monday, something like that. And so then I started the masterwork grind.
Right.
And I have to say, I am very pleased with how easy it is to get masterworks.
Right.
It's not too easy to the point where you just feel like, oh, hey, masterwork, and you throw it in the garbage. It takes some doing, because you can do legendary contracts or strongholds on Grandmaster 1 and up, and that's a guaranteed masterwork.
Right.
which is really nice considering you can do 3 legendary contracts in one day, and no limit on strongholds. So that's at least 3 masterworks in one day. But as far as where I am in the end game stuff, I'm at the point where all that's left for me is the loot grind. And I think that, a lot of people would see that and be like, oh, what do I do now? I feel like I've done all the content. Let me add the caveat of saying there was a lot of content. There were a lot of side missions. There was a lot of doing to get to legendary contracts. And this is coming from the perspective of I am a casual player, but I'm slightly above casual because until I get married, I do have more time than the average gamer. And it took me pretty much a week to get to that point. And that was with me playing basically nothing else.
Right.
So I think with
how many hours a day would you say that you have been playing? Anthem?
I don't know about hours a day, but I've played it pretty much every day for at least an hour at the very least. In the upwards, like on my day off, I would play for like maybe 7 hours.
Okay, that's how you're higher than me. I've been playing
absolutely.
At least an hour every day, but my max would be 3 hours.
Yeah. So the game is intended right now. The game that they released is not the full game.
Right.
It is basically the tutorial to get you ready for the stuff they're going to add. It is enough to get you prepared to know how strongholds work, to know how legendary contracts work, to get a build set up for the world events, all that kind of stuff. So with that, I don't think that I was cheapened out on how much content is in the game.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I am pretty deep in the loot grind. I can see how once people have gotten all of their loot, the game might get stale.
Right.
But really, I'm holding off judgment for after they've updated the game and given more things to do. Because it's really going to depend on how quick after releasing the game they give more content and how frequent after that they do.
Right.
That's going to really base my overall judgment of the gaming experience as a whole.
Right.
But I will say one thing that I was pleased with was they got criticism of how the loot worked.
Right.
Over the weekend, and they changed it. They just straight up changed it. And they said, for example, minor attributes or inscriptions is what they call them. They're fixed to where they apply to the gear that you pick up now, which is great. They made it to where masterworks are easier to craft, so they require 10 less cores, which is great.
So glad that I was not to the point of crafting masterworks yet.
I'd
only crafted
one. I'd only crafted one, and I figured there would be a change, so I stopped with the one. I was just making myself a second of the gun I already had. But they also said apparently they were supposed to have patched where commons and uncommons don't drop for level 30s anymore.
Right.
But they do.
Right. I think some of that patch, because I read the same article I think you're talking about, some of that stuff is in the works. Some of that stuff was immediate, and some of it was like, we've also heard you saying this, and we completely agree. We're going to do that. So there's some of that stuff that's coming down the road. But well, it's interesting to hear you say that because for me right now, I just beat the campaign. The what do you call it? The critical story.
The critical path.
Critical path. I just beat that. I started to talk to the dude about legionaries and stuff before I went to bed. But I'm still enjoying the game, but I realized that my storm is somewhat limited in the way that I want to play it. As I was playing the story, I kind of hit a point where I was like, you know what? I've been using these fire orbs and this ice storm pretty much this whole time. Let me just branch out. Let's try something different. So I tried Glacial Spear, which was the only other detonator that I had in my, I think it's the Focus Seal. That's the only other detonator I had. And I only had one other I really only had one primer in that category, and it's the Ice Shards. So I was just like, well, I guess I'm not going to have a primer with me. And then in my Blast, I tried the... it's basically operates the same as the Ice Storm, but it's the Fire Storm. I tried that horrible combo. The Glacier Spear is one shot, takes forever to charge up, and then the Fire Blast does nothing. it did very little damage. Like my Fire Orb fully charged would kill a small group of enemies. The Fire Blast could hit the same amount of enemies, but would only kind of hit them. And then the Glacier Spear was basically a one-person attack. Like, it had very little AoE. So, anyway, I don't know. I tried one or two other moves, but like, if you're wanting a priming and detonating combo with the Storm, you have somewhat limited options because there are only 3 or 4 detonators, period, and there's only 2 or 3 primers, period.
So that's something that I've noticed with Anthem's javelins is that in a lot of ways it feels like in end game specifically you are limited to say this is what I want to do with this specific javelin. Because for me, for example, the Ranger had a lot of potential pre-end game, like in mid game, where I was able to do pretty good damage. I was able to take a good few hits. I was able to keep up with the pace of an interceptor. Like it was filling its role. But then you get to end game when everything can one shot pretty much anything but a Colossus, and then the Colossus and the Storm are doing better detonations than me, and it's like, okay, here's what I want to do with the Ranger. Here's what I, after doing some reading and with looking at the augments leveling up, it would make sense for the Masterworks to allow me to do this. And what that was being an airborne combatant that couldn't stay as airborne as long as a Storm, but who can, because they can stay up there for like 4 freaking minutes. So staying airborne a lot. And while airborne, I would get a lot of buffs, and then I would be able to set off detonations really well to do high single target damage, as well as do callouts. Sounds all well and good, but then you get to the Masterworks, which you have to wear, because they give you so much more of a stat buff than epics do. So even in components, if you're not wearing Masterwork components, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So I got to the Masterworks, and most of them have to do with melee. I don't know if you know this, Jake, but being airborne and shooting things from above them and hitting them in the head with a mace are the exact opposite things. So suddenly the Masterworks for the Ranger are working against what it seems like its nature is supposed to be. Because they're like, oh yeah, a shock mace Ranger is totally viable, which it's viable, but it's not practical because the Ranger has a cooldown on its melee, so that doesn't make sense. But so I'm over here trying to figure out how to make a Masterwork Ranger build work when my Masterworks are trying to get me to do something that is the exact opposite of what I was led to believe I could do. So Masterworks need tinkering with where they don't feel so like intentionally pushing you in one way. And I mainly see that with just the Ranger. I don't see that as much. The Colossus' Masterworks, dumb. They're so good. Like, I hate it. I hate how good they are. But the Storms seem a lot more broad, where like your R1 damage amplifies your L1 damage, and there's another one that makes to where your L1 damage amplifies your R1 damage, and stuff like that. But something I have noticed with the Storm is what you're saying, that if you want to do a certain, like if you want it to be a fire storm that effectively primes and detonates, that is a little harder. So I don't know what the fix is for that. But and maybe it's just because the storm, people go into the storm expecting to do something more specific, because people play the storm and they think lightning or ice or fire,
right,
rather than mixing everything.
Yeah.
And I think the BioWare intended for the storm to have to mix things, because like even their ult, you use all three. So I think that's what kind of they were going for.
Well, and I'm fine with that. It's
yeah.
Because, I mean, there is a primer of each element. There's a lightning primer, there's a fire primer, and there's two ice primers.
There's a detonator for each.
And that's all well and good, but, like, the lightning and fire primer are essentially living flame.
The same.
Just with a flame look and an electric look.
Right.
And it's fine. I just am not a big fan of it. I mean, Ice Storm far and above exceeds both of those, and completely makes them, in my opinion, obsolete, because the Ice Storm is instantaneous, blast, and it freezes everything but like a highly armored boss. And I mean, it stops things in their path. Like if you're about to be attacked as a storm, and you've
got 3 ice primers.
Do what?
You've got 3 ice primers, I think.
Do we? I think there's only 2.
You've got the Ice Storm, the Glacial Spears, and then Ice Blast, which is the one where you throw the chunks.
Glacial Spear is a detonator. And
that's Glacial Spear. I'm talking Ice Blast. It's an L1, not normal.
But you just said Glacier Spear is a...
No. If I did, I meant Ice Blast.
Okay. The Ice Blast is the one that throws the chunks?
Yeah, you throw the chunks of ice, and it's a primer. It's like a high damaging primer, because that's what I've got right now on my storm.
Interesting. I haven't messed with that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, regardless, it's very obvious what's the best primer. And then I think you could argue which is the best detonator. I think you get more bang for your buck with the fireballs, but lightning is also very powerful. So, I don't know.
So for on your end, I would say wait and pass judgment till you get your Masterworks.
Absolutely.
Or see your Masterworks.
Absolutely.
Because
I think
those absolutely change the game.
I think more what I'm upset about is I fell into what I want to be as a storm very early on. And so I know what I'm building towards. I need a really good Ice Storm Masterwork, and I need a good Fire Orb Masterwork.
I would say consider using Ice Blast, because I've got the Masterwork, and it does a lot of damage, but it's also a primer.
I may have to look
and
into
the cooldown's pretty quick
if it does that. Now, is that a focus seal or a blast seal? Do you know?
It's the L1. I forget which one's which.
I forget which one's which too. If it's my focus seal, that's my fire
not
blast.
the same. It's not the same slot as your fireball.
Okay.
Your fireball is your R1.
Okay. Well then, I'll look into that and see if I like that any better. But anyway, I don't know. It's just interesting. I hope what we're looking at is they gave a very basic set of skills to each of the javelins with the intention of adding more stuff later.
Surely.
Talking about looking back at Destiny, we're talking about Thorn and like, here's another hand cannon, like blah blah blah. Right. But I think with the skills for the javelin, there's so many. I mean, they're already so unique from each other.
Yeah. I mean, the Masterwork, like the weapons, seem like there's a huge variety of Masterwork weapons. There's like 27, 29, something like that.
Right.
And I feel like the skills need more expanding upon than the weapons do.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I beyond that, you hand me a sniper rifle or two. I think there's like, I've only noticed 3 types. There might be more. The Devastator, I think is what it's called. That's the sniper rifle that I'm like trying to build up because I really, really like that one. But a Devastator's a Devastator. The other ones are sniper rifles. They operate a little differently, but I think skills though, like you throw me a different kind of lightning skill, like, oh man, that's there's some cool stuff you could do with that.
Regarding the storm, I think another thing that you need to be open to is the right weapon and integrating your weapons, because there are weapons that prime enemies. There's a sniper, it's Siegebreaker. It's the Masterwork Whirlwind, so it's fully automatic.
Yeah,
it ice primes.
Yeah, Whirlwind. It does what?
It ice primes.
Ice prime. Yeah.
So on like consecutive hits, you prime something with ice. Because my target is the one that fire primes. It's an assault rifle, and I'm gonna run 2 detonators on my Ranger. That's my plan.
So you're gonna prime with your guns, and
I'm gonna prime with my gun, and that's that. I think that's kind of what they're going for too. Is that they don't want you to feel like you have to depend too much on primers, because they want to give you alternative options to priming. And then there's like the Thunderbolt of Ivenia is the marksman rifle that I use, and it calls down a bolt of lightning 33% of the time.
Right.
And it deals massive damage.
Yeah.
So if you end up using the Masterwork lightning bolt, it increases lightning damage after you use it. So that applies to the Thunderbolt of Ivenia. So it's finding those pieces that interlock.
Yeah.
And synergizing with them. So
and
it's just a lot
that's
of thinking.
the thing. I haven't gotten that far. I'm still getting epics, so I haven't gotten that deep into it. But I'm sure I will, and it'll be fine. But anyway, so you're still, so even though you've played a good bit of in game and are starting to kind of get your build together, you still feel like, I mean, obviously there's more new content is, new world events are going to happen this month. I think May is when the first Cataclysm is. So you still feel like you need to be putting a lot of time into Anthem at this point.
I don't feel like I need to. I feel like by the time Division 2 comes out, I'm going to be kitted. Right. So that's kind of what I was going for.
So you're hitting Anthem hard now, so that when Division comes,
so that I don't have to later.
Hard. Yeah.
That's been my main motivation, and plus it's what everybody wants to play right now. So
right.
But like my main concern, my main criticism, I guess, right now for end game isn't even that I don't feel like there's a lot to do, because the activities are fun to repeat, and they're rewarding. But I do think that the content needs to come sooner rather than later. But I think while the content is being waited on, they have got to balance these classes, and that doesn't mean nerfing the Colossus.
Right.
That means buffing the Ranger.
Right.
Don't the Ranger take away power. Give it. Yes, because like the problem with like games like Destiny is that when they hear balance, they hear nerf. That doesn't have to be the case. With Anthem, there's no PvP, so you don't have to nerf. You can just buff what's lacking.
Right.
And I'm hoping that's what happens with the Ranger. I said, I think I said it on stream on Saturday. I think it'd be really cool if they even made it to where the Ranger could use a lot of its skills while flying, not hovering, but while flying. They already did that with the Ultimate, but if I can like shoot missiles and launch grenades and stuff while flying, then I could be like a strafing run type of character, and that sounds like a lot of fun. Like be an actual fighter jet,
right?
That could be or just make a javelin that's like a fighter jet. That could be really cool.
Just a fighter jet.
I don't know.
Doesn't have legs or arms.
Give me a fighter jet.
Just a fighter jet.
Just turn Anthem into Ace Combat.
There you go. Great. Yeah. Well, hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of ChortleCast. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, there's a couple things you can do to help us out. Number one, if you're watching on YouTube, you're already at chortlegames.com. You can leave us a like on this video, share it with your friends, leave a comment, all that good stuff, and we appreciate that. If you're an audio listener, probably listening through iTunes, you can leave us a review. That really helps us out. Helps people find the podcast, know about it, think that it's good, all that good stuff. You can also be a part of the show by writing in to chortlecast@gmail.com. You can send in news topics you've heard about, stories, questions you want to ask me and Steven, all that stuff. You can also join our Discord to do that. We have a channel set up specifically for that. You can find the link to the description, or the link to the Discord in the description of this video, or in the banner of our YouTube channel. And then you can also follow us at Chortle Games on Twitter and Facebook and keep up with us that way. Steven, thanks for joining. Thanks for being a part.
Yeah.
As always.
Absolutely. Sorry. I was on my phone. Yeah.
Now, Steven, you may or not know this, but this is not the only thing we do here on Chortle Games. Did you know that?
I better know it at this point.
Look, I should rephrase. You do more than just this, Steven. We have content all week long, just about. On Monday, when this airs, 12 o'clock Central Time, Steven, later that afternoon, does a Division stream with our friends, Friendly Fire Games.
And possibly Jeremy from 8-Bit Gamesters.
And possibly our other friend, Jeremy from 8-Bit Gamesters. So, Division stream, if you're excited about Division 2, want to watch some folks get ready for that by playing Division 1, tune in Monday nights, see that happen. On Tuesday or Thursday, we do this thing we call Team Up Tuesday.
T-Day.
Team Up T-Day. It is not going to be Tuesday
Work
this
in
week.
progress.
It will be Thursday, and it will be me playing Division. I mean, not Division, Destiny.
I was like,
I
knew that you
Steven
didn't
was
mean
shocked.
Division, but I still, like, you're gonna have to look back and look at my face because I'm just like, what?
It will be me playing Destiny 2. Maybe Steven will show up. Maybe he'll be watching Captain Marvel. Maybe I'll
Probably.
be jealous that he's at the premiere of Captain Marvel. I'm gonna
Maybe
tell him
there will
not to
be a
text
bottom
me.
line review of
When-
Captain Marvel.
I know. I'm not gonna look at you. I'm not gonna
Maybe.
talk to you all that day. I'm just gonna be like, Steven, stay away. I need to go see this later. I'm gonna be going Friday night, so don't worry. Not to skip back, but Wednesday is when we do Let's Plays, which are shorter edited content. This week it is the final episode of Serial Cleaner. We made a joke that was so good, I just don't know that we can ever top it. So we ended the series. we put a pin in that one. But that's Wednesday. Best of the best. It's gonna be great. Be sure to tune in and watch that. Friday, I'm gonna go see Captain Marvel. So Steven is gonna stream solo, talking about doing maybe some Modern Warfare, maybe some Witness, may just break and play more Anthem. You know, who knows?
If you would like something specific, let me know in the comments below.
Or in our Discord. We're always there in the Discord. And then Saturday we're going to be doing more Anthem Saturday night. So keep on that track of you guys can bring me into the end game. Like really just get me going. Cuz
Hopefully you'll be 30 by then. Then we can do some strongholds and legendary contracts to get you some masterworks.
I mean, I've already got legendary contracts I can do. I'm not getting masterworks yet, but
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
You get those you get those when you beat the game. I was shocked. Grandmaster 1 is available to me right now because I beat the game. I'm not level 30 yet, but
it's not actually available till you hit 30.
well, they lied.
Yeah, they did.
They lied to me is what happened. But anyway, so we're going to have a lot of good content for you this week. Be sure to tune in. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part. Steven, thanks again for being here. You're a great Lone Ranger.
Yep.
King of Thieves.
King of Thieves.
The King of Thieves, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Yes.
Ba-ba-da-ba-da.